enjoy as faster internet as I can get in any city in Europe. There is no reason why we shouldn't, because we are building infrastructure, and migrating from analog to digital broadcasting provides us an opportunity to avail more spectrum to enable our, mobile telephony, to enable our broadband footprint to expand in the country. This is why we need to migrate, and surely time is here for us to do it.
And you know there are people who hold positions to this day, elected, who don't have degrees. You know that very well. You live in Kenya, as I do. You know, people launder themselves around. How do you go to court for a judge to determine whether or not you went to school? You know, how can I turn up in court for a judge to determine whether or not I went to school and whether or not I have a degree? That's the kind of country we live in.
I take this opportunity to inform our Kenyans that there shall be no vacuum in securing our country. I have taken this morning the decision to appoint Dr. Fred Matiang'i as the Acting Minister for Internal Security to ensure that there is no vacuum.
The areas of North Rift of our country, Mr. Chairman, and the parts of Eastern, this mainly refers to Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Samburu, parts of Turkana, and Isiolo, are prone for a long time to incessant conflict. This conflict is driven by a number of factors. One, Mr. Chairman, is the political competition and political incitement. Two, the proliferation of illegal firearms. Three, the high levels of illiteracy and unemployment. Four, constant land dispute between especially the Pokot on the one hand and some other communities here, especially in the case of Baringo, the area around Mukutani. Now we have come to a point where we are embedding specially trained teams to deal with the, particularly the Pokot warriors who are in there, who have exhibited banditry habits. The National Security Council decided that we would ask the KDF to help do water bans, and to provide water and such resources to the communities in that area. And a number of activities have been done. We have the proposed Ayen Dam, the Chesitate water pan, and the proposed Chesitate 2 water pan that is being done and supported by the KDF. We have created and operationalized over 50 new administrative units in this belt, as it were, to provide administration and security resources closer to the population. One of the solutions to this area is to ensure that we have more schools, more economic activities that people can engage in, that take their time away from the card rustling and the destructive activities they engage in. Our security teams are now under firm instructions to ensure that we document, and I repeat, we document accurately and effectively every action. We record the utterances and everything else, so that should there be need for prosecution in future as we go along on some of these things. And I can tell from some of the utterances that are being made around that it's going to be almost impossible to avoid prosecution on some of the claims that are being made by political leaders. We will be ready as a security sector to provide evidence to sustain prosecution for crimes that are being conducted by leaders. I am aware, for example, that the police through the DCI have opened up very serious investigations, following up several individuals who are spewing hate speech and so on and so forth. What we have resolved is we're going to live by the law. We will prepare our paperwork, we'll prepare the files and turn them over to the DPP and ask that some of these people be prosecuted. You know, some people think that they will make certain statements or do certain things now, and they think that after the elections we'll forget. Some of these crimes are not actually covered or affected by the statute of limitation. you can be prosecuted 2 years from now for some of the things you're engaging in at the moment. That's why we have resolved to ensure meticulous recording of what is going on around in some of these cases. Because I can tell clearly that some of the utterances that are being made by some people, including national political leaders, are going to be subject to prosecution at some point or other. One candidate in a constituency in Nairobi moved around on a Sunday morning to every restaurant in that constituency. And everyone he found in that restaurant on that day, they give them 200 shillings, others 500. To every butchery, they find you queuing to get a kilo of meat, they give you 200, and so on. That can't be their own money, obviously, as it were. And if you followed the guy and you tracked their record, you discover they're one of the people that Kinoti is actually following up. But until Kinoti gathers enough information, some of the information we have is from intelligence. And my judge friends who are in the room tell me intelligence is not evidence. You see, so the question is, and then you are faced with this thing of you are using evidence you have acquired from illegal sources. So I don't know how we will win, because you see, we have intelligence, this is what's happening. We have intelligence, this is the kind of guy we are dealing with. I turn up at, before my friend judge, he says this is evidence obtained from illegal sources. And then there's nothing I can do. This fellow continues to bribe people around. And as I said, honestly speaking, and I'm saying this as a responsible public servant, if we are not careful, it is going to become very, very difficult to manage especially elective institutions in this country. So the question is, how are we going to manage the governance of the country as we move forward? Because this campaign finance law, you will take it to Parliament. Who's going to amend it? The same wash-wash guys who have arrived there. And so on. Note that wash-wash culture is what actually got them into Parliament in the first place. It's a debate. We just need to find out what to do. But the truth of the matter is that we notice these things, we see these things, and you're the ones who keep telling us all the time, intelligence is not evidence. Okay, or it's evidence obtained through illegal means. So, well, there we are. So I think if we came together and looked for mechanisms, maybe a long-distance review and regulatory framework for campaign financing might save this country. We are beginning to draw two critical exercises that we want to do. One, reorganize deployment in that area. And two, we are contemplating a declaration subject to our clearance by the National Security Council. We are contemplating a declaration of a curfew in parts of that area so that we can have an intensified operation such as we have in Marsabit. People have been asking me, including leaders from that part of the country, what it is going to take for us to act in the stiff manner that we are going to act. It's because we have exhausted all means of trying to arrest the misconduct and the criminal behavior of some of the people operating in that area. We have tried everything. We have had meetings with leaders. We have asked local leaders to have meetings with their people and discourage them from this primitive habit of, cattle rustling and attacking each other and raiding each other. Because what happens is one community raids another community for animals, and one community reiterates. And in the process, collateral damage includes children, innocent children, who have nothing to do with that madness. So as government, we cannot stand by and watch that happen. And as I said, that time has now come for us to deal with that belt with unprecedented firmness. And we are going to apply fire they haven't seen to bring order to that particular place. Because we believe there are elements, criminal elements, who are challenging the resolve of government and who are challenging our ability to bring order in that particular place. I am not aware of any scheme or any effort to influence the Communications Authority of Kenya or any effort to influence the Kenya Power and Lighting District of Power. Sometimes in a civilized world, some of these claims, I find them too cheap and too ridiculous to even think about. And when they come from the mouths of senior leaders, you sometimes don't know whether to laugh or cry. It's so petty to imagine that an organization that enjoys such institutional autonomy and protection by the law, like the Communications Authority of Kenya, would resort to such primitive things like, interfering. We have said this several times before. I'm as Minister for Interior, I'm the one who would invoke the Public Order Act. We have said it several times, because this is a matter that we have all discussed and agreed. We are not going to shut down the internet. We are not going to interfere with social media and so on. Why would we do that? Kenya is come of age. Kenyans are mature people. I agree with His Excellency, the Deputy President. It's true, Kenya has a shortage of fools. And I think that applies more to some of those petty claims that he's making and so on than anything else. Because really, how would you, the Communication Authority of Kenya, with the reputation they have, by the way, people forget, we sit at the International Telecommunication Union as a country at the ITU. We are very respected at the ITU. Kenya has taken its place of pride and honor in the ICT sector in the globe. How would we resort to doing some of those petty things like, shut down the internet, or CAK has been instructed by who? To do what? It has not been a bed of roses. Let me be honest here. We've come under intense pressure. As you know our country. You are attacked, you are criticized when you are moving in the right direction. But I have never been more resolute on something than I am on this. This thing is destroying our people. Let us not accept it. There is no country, show me one country on earth that has been built as a result of this company. Many of you leaders who are seated here, you are business people, you are investors, you work hard, you earn your living by working hard. You do not lie in your beds and take mobile phones and look for 10 million shillings by just sending some funny text messages. Let's not socialize our children to this madness. Let's fight this thing, all of us together. Yes, I understand people tell me, it's providing money for our sports and so on. Come on, people. We can raise revenue and support our sports without taking our children down the drain. Do you believe surely that we cannot support some of these services through revenue? We were honest and serious people. Let's fight corruption and get the resources we need to support the development of our country. Let's stop lying to each other that there's some cheap, easy money we are going to get by somebody giving us money through gambling and so on. This is something that must be fought by every Kenyan who is interested in the future of our country and in the success of our children.